Okay, finally, part 3, validation and launch. So in this step, in this part, we are going to do two things. We're going to confirm with the client that in fact our design is what they wanted, and we are going to get ready to really launch our project and start sprinting. Okay, but first things first. So task 5, second meeting with the client. The point of the second meeting with the client is, as I said, to validate your designs, prototype, and success criteria, right? And again, validation just means the client giving their thumbs up. Yes, this is right. This is what I wanted. To prepare for this, we would need the steps involved in this, in completing this task are preparing for the meeting, doing the meeting, any follow-up, completing any follow-up on the meeting, and then producing the appropriate documentation. So preparation for the meeting, as was with the first one, schedule 20 to 40 minutes is what I recommend. Have your prototype ready, okay? Share it with the client ahead of time if you'd like, or just show it to them on the spot. Audio recording device, because again, this meeting will also need to be recorded, okay, and made it into a transcript. And then finally, prepare your user stories and success criteria. So during the meeting, what will you be doing? Well, first and foremost, show up on time, be respectful of the client's time, record the audio. But during the meeting, first show them the user stories that you generated after the first meeting and explain how from these user stories, you develop the success criteria and go through each of those success criteria one by one, show them how they belong to the user stories. Okay. At that point, confirm with the client, is this right? I hope they say yes, that's exactly what, what you wanted. Now it's time to show them the prototype. Have them use the prototype, click through it, and explain to them how each one of your success criteria, the success criteria that you had fit, are expressed in the prototype, right? How they're implemented in the prototype, and get feedback from the client, whether they like it that way, there's too much clicking, not enough clicking, whatever, right? Make down any notes, make down any comments. I know that if we go back to Marvel app and you play it, again, this is a professional tool, so it's made with all that in mind. You can actually put in comments on a particular page. Yeah, want to leave a comment, so you can add any annotations, and you can do them right here on it. So that's totally up to you to use that. But these tools are there because this is what the name of the game is. That's the purpose of these tools, is to allow for quick feedback to the client. All right, so once you get that, hopefully you've done well and you've gotten most, if all, of the success criteria correct, and the client is satisfied. If necessary, though, you might want to consult your advisor, right? Update any wireframes, modify the success criteria, and then schedule another meeting with the client, again, if necessary. All these steps might be necessary. None of these steps might be necessary, right? Finally, afterwards, you'll need to produce basically the same documentation as before. So a transcript of the audio recording. This time, a write-up for the criterion A. This one is the proposed solution and rationale. This is not a scenario overview, but you're actually writing your project proposal and why you're doing it. Up to 250 words again. And then finally, validated success criteria. So the success criteria that your client has looked at and approved. Okay, let's go do that right now with this documentation. So here, I think this is pretty self-evident. You can put one or multiple meetings. You'll put the meeting date, notes, and links to any evidence, evidence of consultation. Okay, so the transcript, link to the transcript goes there. I am not going to post it in here, but it is available, but because you know how to do it, okay? And then we have the proposed rationale and validated success criteria. So let me stop for a minute and I'll fill those in. All right, I'm back. I've filled in all this information, and I wanted to actually start with the validated success criteria because I changed them a little. Now, I think you should expect for them to change between your initial and your validated success criteria. In my case, they didn't change much, but I added 2 more at the end here. So going over it, turn it on easily, automatically record once turned off. All this is the same, except here at the end, to be able to export report data as a CSV file and reset and delete all attendance records. Now, this came around because my hypothetical client and I had it, when I was showing it, the client liked it all. However, they asked, well, what do I do at the end of the school year when I need to reset it? Yeah, is it possible to reset it? I say, well, I could put that in. Also, another thing, the client liked the way the engagement reports looked and all that. However, they thought it might be better to present it if they were to share it with, if they could put it into a spreadsheet, that would allow them to do a lot more with the data. And so I basically said, yeah, we could probably export the database as a CSV file. All right. Now, I've put this on my success criteria. However, as a validated success criteria. And so if I change them like that, the next step would be to go afterwards to this supervisor and just say, these have changed. Is that okay? Would that, are they too much, right? Because you want to just confirm with your supervisor if you make a change like this. If a student came to me with a change like this, I would say, yes, fine. However, also you should try to treat them as kind of nice to have. Meaning, as you're working your way through this project and you discover that actually it's gotten a little too big and, like we had 7 success criteria, now we have 9, we're at the upper edge. It might be that we need to drop 1 or 2 by the end of the project. And that being the case, we will need to do that. You shouldn't be afraid to drop them. Okay, so these validated success criteria aren't really your final ones. You should be open to the fact that these might also get changed along the way. Hopefully, because you've gone through this feedback process now, those changes will be minimum or not at all. But you might discover that something you thought was possible and you and your advisor thought was possible just isn't possible, and you'll have to change things around. Okay, so it's always a concern when developing it, especially, even in the business world, I'd say especially in the business world. All right, here is my write-up for it. Let me see how many words I have on this. It is a total of, too many words, but, I think I'll keep it. In fact, I might say that because the upper one was less, this one is more. Okay. Let me just go ahead and read it to you, and you can kind of decide what you think here. Okay. Using the Java programming language along with the Vaadin framework, I will create a system for tracking attendance at club meetings. This system will be a web-based application which will automate as much of this process as possible. I envision the solution working as follows. At the start of a club meeting, Mr. Dent will log into the app and display it on the screen using a projector, right? They'll share their screen and project it onto their screen. When he's ready to begin attendance, he will click the Start button, which will display meeting information, a scannable QR code, and a list of those who have registered as present, which that list will initially be empty. Students will scan the QR code, which will send them to an online form and that they will complete to register their attendance. As students register, their names will appear on the screen in real time. After everyone has registered, Mr. Dent will turn off registration for the day, and the club meeting can continue as usual. Attendance data will later be accessible in two forms: as a general meeting report showing when each meeting took place and who attended the meeting, and as an engagement report showing the attendance of each student and their level of participation in the club. The data will also be exportable as a CSV file so that the client may import it into a spreadsheet for further analysis. Lastly, at the end of the school year, the client will be able to reset the system, allowing them to start over for next school year. I selected Java and the Vaadin framework because I'm familiar with the language, and Vaadin is a popular framework that allows developers to quickly develop web apps using Java. It's an appropriate choice as it's a well-known language with a large developer community. I suppose that last part is optional. I could get rid of it, but I wanted to address why I'm using this technology and not another. Now, as you can see, if I were using Python, I could just put in Python and whatever Django or Flask framework I was using, right? It doesn't matter. You get the bulk of the idea, right? This is the proposed solution and rationale. What is the solution I'm building, and why am I building it that way? And I think I do a pretty good job of explaining how it's supposed to work here. All right. This section, because you can see here, Criterion A, will go directly into Criterion A. Okay. So, coming back to that, so we have here our evidence of consultation, proposed solution, and validated success criteria. All right. Task 6, compile Criterion A. So this is actually a pretty straightforward task. We just have to, let me actually walk through it. Using the template provided by the supervisor, compile a draft Criterion A by copying and pasting the above sections into the template, or the following sections, right? The scenario overview, proposed solution rationale, and success criteria. Okay, and then also add some appendices. Okay, so add an appendix. So here is the first one. This is the template. Very exciting. Not a lot to it. Literally, all you have to do is you go to this part with the scenario. Right? Copy and paste that. Right there. Right? Let me actually paste that in like that. Part 1. Right, you should also, paste in the word count. So I think the word count here was, let's see here if I can remember. I cannot, but it's important to just remember that. Okay, 178 words. I'm just going to do, 178. And I'll copy that as well. Okay, proposed solution and rationale. That's down here in part 5, section 5. Oh. There we go. Okay, we take this now. I recall this being a little larger than it should be. But again, as long as the whole is under 500, you're good to go. 297. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. Whoops. 297. Okay, paste that in there. Perfect. And finally, the success criterion. Here it is. I will actually even put that in. Okay, and that is criterion A. Let's see what we have here. So, oh, I should change that. That's going to bother me. Past scenario, check. Proposed solution, check. Success criteria, check. Okay, additionally, you'll need to create an appendix containing the evidence of consultation. So let me explain how to go through this. This is not that hard at all. Just create a new document. And this will be called Appendix 1. I'm also going to entitle it here Appendix 1. I'm going to set it to be the title. And let's go back here. Oh, okay. I have to turn off my full screen mode here, and I need to go through some just sample that out as a separate thing. Right, I need to go to this document, this transcript. I will find the transcript here, hopefully sooner than later. It's loading up for me. So I'm going to copy the contents of this transcript. Now again, it will be much nicer, right, than this. I haven't done the editing on it, but you will. Copy it and paste it. Just paste it into the appendix document here. Oops. So I'm going to copy both the transcripts, and I'm going to put here as heading 1. I'll put heading 2. Heading 1 just seems really big. And I'll put interview with, so first in transcript of first interview with client. And then you could put on February, you know, we'll put 20th there. I'm just stuck in February, it seems. Okay, and then I'm going to paste it all in here. Okay, and then the second transcript, I will do the same. I'll put transcript of second meeting with client on February, let's say 27. I had it a week later. It was really fast in my design. I'll also make this a header, and I will, let's say I also paste that same, I have a transcript and I paste it in there. So this is my appendix. The only other thing worth adding to it is a table of contents. I highly recommend always adding a table of contents in these kinds of documents where you're referencing multiple things, right? And the way to do that is you go to Insert. Down here at the bottom, it says Table of Contents. You select your format with page numbers with blue links. Let's do with page numbers. And there it is. It's right there. And if so, the way it knows what is what is it looks at the header. So this is header 2, so it puts it in, right? If we were to put transcript of third meeting with client, right? Spell check that. And we want to add that as also a header. Okay. Then if I click here and refresh it, it will in fact add that and you'll need to do this multiple times throughout it. But this is always something I recommend doing and have my students do. Okay, so add in the appendix just like that. All right, so that should give you an idea on completing this. The only step left is place it in a single folder, which I've already recommended, so you should already have it. Put it in a single folder for yourself there. If you look at the, oops, hold on a second. If you look at this launch document, I have here create the appendix and place it into 2 folders, and you will need to put in criterion A, a link to criterion A, a link to the appendix, and then a link to the folder where it all is. So I am literally going to be checking, like, do you have criterion A properly done? Do you have an appendix 1 properly done? And are they all in the same folder? Okay, this is what I'm checking for. Again, you will thank me later.